Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Vince, and we're going to be going over the Summer Sweep Up 2026. It's funny, I actually woke up kind of late today, and I jumped on my computer to stream, and there it was with the Jagex launcher. So I was like, you know what? Before I stream, I'll do a quick video, and yeah, we'll get it going. Very excited for this one. I think Mod Goblin on a Say Big Cast said that Fosani's Nightmare was the unofficial mascot of the Summer Sweep Up. So as someone who's like mid Fosani grind, should be interesting, should just be fun in general. The Summer Sweep Up's always a fan favorite, I feel like. So let's jump right in a little bit. I'm gonna read most of it, but we're gonna go over everything. So we're too late for spring cleaning, but just in time for Summer Sweep Up. Strap in because we've got a lot to talk about. It doesn't look too long of a blog. Everybody in the office is starting to complain about the heat in the UK. Fair enough, which can only mean one thing. It's time for another Summer Sweep Up. For the uninitiated, the Summer Sweep Up is a collection of changes aimed at improving quality of life, addressing long-standing pain points, and often introducing tough topics, like rebalances, to address long-standing main game issues. The primary goal of projects like this is to modernize parts of old school that have fallen out of favor while staying true to our old school roots, and to future-proof various parts of the game to ensure they remain healthy in the long term, safeguarding key aspects of the game for years to come. The Sweep Up spawned following the success of Project Rebalance, which saw the introduction of elemental weaknesses alongside gear, defensive stat, and skill rebalancing. All things that we built on for 2025 Sweep Up, alongside improvements to content like Tombs of a Mascot and Abyssal Sire, and adjustments to loot tables for a variety of resources. God, that's a mouthful. But yeah, Summer Sweep Up's great. It like it said, it just addresses a lot of pain points, and overall just does a very good job at all that sort of stuff. This year we're back with a whole host more tweaks, alongside a handful of topics that we'd like to gauge your thoughts on before committing to a specific direction. We'll waste no more time and kick things off with the changes we're certain will make at least a handful of you say, oh, that's a good change. Goodness, Jagex. First up, we have Hunter improvements. God, how far back are they going? Jeez, falconry? Falconry? In 2026? Hunter is technically old school's second most recent skill behind sailing, being added in November 2006. Despite that, the skill has its fair share of jank or clunky interactions that can make it a bit of a slog to train conventionally, particularly at the earlier levels. It's true that the addition of Hunter Rumors with Varlamore's Hunter Guild improved the value proposition of conventional hunter training outside of Jinshampas, but for many training methods, there are still changes that can be made to drastically improve the feel of them. We'll keep things concise with bullet points, but aim to expand where needed so that we're all on the same page. Okay. Falconry. That's wild. That's not what I expected at all. This is perhaps the most popular traditional hunter method for players midway through their progression, but players engaging in falconry might wonder why Matthias's falcon seemingly lacks all the speed and grace that these birds of prey are known for. Fortunately, all that BP that he's taken from you has been put towards some personal development, meaning you can look forward to the following. You will no longer be held in place while the falcon is chasing a kebbit, meaning you can reposition or walk around while the falcon chases its prey. Thank God. Sticky as hell. You'll be able to ask your falcon to catch a kebbit, even if your inventory is full. Those are two really good changes. It's nothing crazy, but interesting. I'll take that. I don't think I'll use it at this point, but for newer players, that is pretty good. Or for, I guess, like new accounts in general, like if you remake a hardcore or something. Despite its lack of popularity, aerial fishing is a reasonably efficient use of time for the min-maxers among you. We suspect that the XP output is appealing to players where the activity is held back by extremely high intensity with limited downtime, some clunky interactions, and some excessive time to complete for its unique rewards. Here's what we'd like to do to make the most of aerial fishing. Increase the distance at which you're able to perform quick catches from a 3x3 to a 4x4 area, so you can chain together back-to-back catches every tick if you like to play at this level of intensity. Add a toggle to already the angler that allows your cormorant to eat fish in your inventory if you don't have any appropriate bait, effectively reducing the need for you to make fish offcuts as you go. This means that you'd forego the cooking XP you could otherwise obtain, but it does make the activity considerably less click intensive. Occasionally, a larger pool will spawn that you can send your cormorant to several times in a row, which adds a little downtime or periods of lower intensity to break up the rapid pace. Increase the chance of you obtaining pearls by 50%. Jeez, that's. I haven't done aerial fishing, but increasing it by 50% is it's pretty big. So lower the cost of some rewards. Any of you with prior purchases here to be refunded any lost pearls. Fish sack from 1,000 down to 500. Angler's outfit pieces from 100 down to 50. That's solid. That's real solid. I haven't done much aerial fishing. I've heard, like they said, despite its lack of popularity, I've heard it's like really bad. So maybe I'll go try it out now. That's pretty good. And as someone who probably never would have, that's pretty good. Alright. Deadfall traps. Deadfall traps are generally associated with the earliest of hunter levels, which have been more or less superseded by birdhouses for the better part of a decade, with maniacal monkeys being a notable exception for their relatively low intensity. We've got a handful of changes that should breathe new life into these deadfall traps. Increase deadfall trap limit to 2. That's twice as many. Okay. I'm down with that. Maniacal monkeys will retain the 1 trap limit. Truck would never double trap, so you blow your cover. Jokes aside, we don't believe maniacal monkeys need extra help and already occupy a healthy space. See, that's odd that you're gonna have that kind of caveat where you can do 2 constantly, but then the 1 spot you can do, like, for like maniacal monkeys, you can only do 1 still, because they're like, oh well, the XP is good, so we're just gonna keep it 1. Like, I'm not saying to lower the XP at that point, but like that seems a little inconsistent, but not that big a deal. Still kind of a good change, regardless. Give deadfall traps a chance to preserve your log when placing a trap, so you can cut down on cutting down trees. The environmentalists love it. Make deadfall traps able to catch 8 ticks after being placed, as opposed to the current 15 ticks. That's a good change. Kind of just speed everything up. Increase wild catch rate by 2.5. These little critters are a bit of an outlier when it comes to catch rate, while drastically reduce the utility of deadfall traps in its early hunter levels, coupled with other buffs here. This is around a 4x increase in XP per hour from wild cabbits. Lower the XP given by wild barb, prickly, and saber-toothed cabbits and pyrofox by 20%. That's just to balance it. I mean, that's pretty good so far with, like, so we have deadfall, we have aerial fishing, and falconry, all making the, like, early to mid hunter feel less shitty, in addition to hunter rumors. For anyone that has not seen any of my content before, I'm maxed, so it's, I mean, at large, it's pretty irrelevant to me, but for someone that, like, you know, has built up an account over the years, it is pretty cool to see all this. I see the agility changes on the horizon. Some other hunter changes include allowing 2 traps to be placed starting at level 1 rather than level 20. This effectively doubles XP rates for catching birds early on into your hunter journey. So that just feels good, right? Make the ring of pursuit able to reveal full tracks even after one's already been started. Okay. Improve the drop rate and pity rate for butterfly and moth hunter rumors. These stand out as pretty non-interactive. I feel like they have a much higher variance than other rumors, so we like to improve their consistency. Okay, so they fixed a little bit of hunter rumors as well. And nice. And you also grant 30 hunter XP for killing a chompy bird. It's a token amount, but it feels like it makes sense. I'm not gonna complain about that. So yeah, pretty good. Hunter, I wouldn't think that hunter was like the first thing that needed fixing, especially with the Varlamore rumors, but I'll take it. Next we have agility changes. I'm sure people will love that, right? Everyone hates agility, so as much as it will pain some of you, agility is here to stay. Can't remove that? Come on, Jagex. Anyway, Got some spicy sepulchre changes. Some termific changes to Varlamer's Worm Curse, and as is tradition, shortcuts. We love the shortcuts. That honestly is a pretty good change. If they just keep adding different shortcuts to make agility more versatile and more like utility of it, or increase the utility of it. Hollowed sepulchre. How do you say it? Leave a comment how you say it. It's a real standout as far as modern skilling methods go. It's fast-paced, intuitive, and interactive. Having said that, many players bounce off of their agility training before getting to the sepulchre's best parts, and players looking to focus solely on sepulchre for their training can find some parts of progression to get a little tedious. They're making me say that like a million times. Here's what we're proposing. Level 4 entry requirement to level 77 down from 82, so it's a 5-level decrease. Lower floor 5 entry requirement to level 87 down from 92, also a 5 decrease. Allow players to boost for floor entry, meaning a player at level 72 could eat a bite of a summer pie at the end of floor 3 to gain entry to floor 4. Adjust floor 5's grand coffin so that it requires 84 thieving or 92 agility to open. I mean, that's pretty solid. I know people that haven't quite gotten to 92 agility will be happy. Like I said, I'm maxed, but I think adding to the utility and the ease of access to get to this content and such a widely, I guess, hated skill is pretty solid, right? You have, instead of having to go all the way to 92 to get to floor 5, you can just go to 87. Because it is kind of further up there, you know, and that's fine. But I feel like kind of what they said is pretty true, where they said a lot of players bounce off of their agility training before getting to the best part, which is typically floor 5. I think that's solid overall. It's a little weird. I feel like floor 3 and all them are pretty. You get all those pretty quick, but I don't think there's an issue in going from 92 down to 87 as like the highest level you need for sepulchre. I think that's pretty solid. I think it's real solid. I didn't do a ton of sepulchre in my 99 agility grind. I just preferred doing rooftops and watching like YouTube. But it is pretty good content. And I'm gonna go back eventually. So overall, I think that's pretty good. You get more people doing it. Especially with a skill like agility. If it was like Slayer, it's like, whatever. But agility, yeah. Bump it down. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but that's kind of a good idea from them. Ultimately, the aim here is to reduce the time spent running the comfortable floors ad nauseum. That's so fair. 72 to 82 agility stands out for many as a bit of a slog, since floor 3 gets to be quite mundane after a little while. These changes are aimed at getting players moving through the floors more quickly and putting themselves to the test against the more challenging obstacles early. Perfect excuse for you to burn through that stack of summer pies. Very fair. On the other end of the intensity spectrum is the Colossal Worm course, nestled into Varlamore's Sunset Coast. That was initially billed as a more low-intensity alternative to rooftops for reduced XP output, but it's more or less the same amount of effort and sees little use beyond players going after their Varlamore graceful recolor. The change is going to be increase the duration of the Colossal Worm agility course by 25 to 30%, increase XP and termites to match, so that's the same XP per hour and termites per hour, but fewer inputs per hour. It sounds good to me. I haven't touched that yet, admittedly, but I did like a couple laps in leagues, so I wouldn't mind doing that either. Maybe I'll go over there and get the, what is it, the termite, use termites to get like the recolor or like the transmog for the squirrel pet. So I'll go do that. Fewer inputs per hour and we still get the same amount of XP and termites. Seems solid, especially for them being like, yeah, this is kind of what we meant for it to be anyway. Another good change. Agility looking pretty good. Oh, and we still have more. We still have shortcuts, obviously. It's like the best part. It's not wasting any time. Pardon the pun, get it? It's a shortcut. Here's a list of brand new shortcuts that we'd like to add. These aid general traversal, serve as timed saves for treasure trail steps, or perhaps just feel like they make sense. Sounds good to me. So level 49 agility, you get west of Draenor Manor, you get a small gap in the fence. Solid, solid. It does feel weird to go into that like kind of top portion of Draenor Manor, so that'll help with that, which is I think is a good idea, especially at level 49. It's not bad at all. 54, you get southwest of Giants Plateau, while easy access to and from the desert. That's also fine. Level 60, you get a southern edge of Edgeville dungeon, cutting down on travel time if you've lost your brass key. Okay, I could see it. I could see it. I don't think that one's as useful, but that's still a decent spot if you're in that area quite a bit. I feel like Edgeville dungeon doesn't get as much love, you know. Central area of the top floors of the Arceus Library, allowing you to jump down to the bottom floor. Watch your ankles. That's actually really solid. I don't know if any of you guys were doing League 6 with the handing in the books at Arceus Library, but oh my god. Going up and down in that place, that's actually really good. I like that a lot. That's a weird one because it's in like a building, but that's really good. Level 79, north of Sophanum, a slippery stepping stone for those who need to cross the river Elid in a flash. I think any of the rivers, any of the shortcuts that they add to the river in that desert are solid. So that seems pretty good too. Level 82, small island north of Mostly Harmless. Your least favorite treasure trail step just got a whole lot better. Also cool with that. Seems good. It's already kind of a pain in the ass to get to Mostly Harmless, so I mean, you teleport there, I guess, with a teleport, but that's good. Level 82 too. It's high enough where, you know, it feels kind of earned. And then level 83, west of Polnarev Beach, allowing quick access from the alley that Hag's hut to the nearby plateau. It's good. I like that they just add a couple every year. Like, hey, we want the game to just feel like snappier, right? Every year it just feels a little snappier with the shortcuts. New shortcuts are all well and good, but we'd also like to take a look at some of the most frustrating out there, grapple shortcuts. There's no shortage of shortcuts in the game that you'll look at and think, my character is done way tougher than this. So we'd like to allow some grapple shortcuts to be over leveled and be able to be completed without any gear at all. The shortcuts we're looking here are, so this is them, before I read these, this is them looking at grapples and being like, we want to scrap this, but like we don't want to like admit it, so we're just gonna say that if you're over leveled, you can just kind of do it. You can just kind of do it. That's hilarious to me. I love it. This is cool. This is real cool, but I'm not gonna pretend that they're just like, we would scrap this, but let's pretend. Anyway, let's pretend it's yeah. Level 8 grapple, Broken River and River Lum. Usable barehanded at level 48. Wow, okay, so it has very high requirements, but that is pretty cool. This is gonna be awesome. You're not gonna need a grapple for any of this? It's amazing. That's gonna be awesome. Like a lot of these, wait, are they gonna add? Oh my god. Falador wall climb, usable barehanded at level 52. So still not bad. It looks like you have to kind of get up there, but that's not bad at all. Because like a lot of people just will not use these otherwise. That's great too. Falador wall climb, you can just do it. Level 32 grapple, rock climb between Catherby and Taverley. Usable barehanded at level 68. We'd also like to make this a two-way shortcut. Sounds good. Two-way shortcut as well is fantastic. The rock climb between Catherby and Taverley. Yeah, that's dope. Catherby water obelisk jump, usable barehanded at level 72. That's fantastic. Level 39 grapple, Yanil with wall climb, usable barehanded at level 69. The corresponding achievement diary test would still require a grapple to be used. And then finally, level 53. Strong trees just south of Karamja Volcano, usable barehanded at level 78. Traversing Gilnor gets better with every sweep up. Here's hoping that more variety in Agility's pinnacle training method, coupled with more use cases for training beyond level 70, will have more of you getting your steps in than ever before. So pretty good agility sweep up overall. We have the other skilling related changes. There's more on the table for a variety of skilling activities or quick fix improvements, and we think there's one part in this section in particular that you really enjoy, so let's start with that one. Guardians of the Rift. Minecraft's premier minigame has been a fan favorite since its release, but its reward structure and offering has left little to be desired. Having borderline mandatory skilling upgrades gated behind RNG with high variance can sour the enjoyment of activities like Guardians of the Rift. So we've got a couple tweaks to make your time spent there feel more valuable and more finite. Sorry, if you're looking to grab some rewards and go. So yeah, there's a couple complaints here that I think they're probably gonna address. Allow players to purchase the Abyssal Needle. There you go. For 750 Abyss Pearls, meaning there's a deterministic option for players going dry. Very much needed. Plenty of people complained about that. Here you go. Right? This is everything everyone's complained about, basically. Which is, these all look good. Allow the Abyssal Lantern to function outside of Guardians of the Rift if it's burning logs that provide some effect beyond the activity. This means normal Oak Maple and Yew won't have any function, but Willow, Blisterwood, Magic, and Redwood will. Pretty good. Very cool. That lantern. It's a very cool item. It looks cool. It has a lot of functions within the minigame, but it doesn't have as much to offer outside. So we can use that outside. That sounds awesome. Allow the Guardian's Eye to unlock a permanent metamorphosis on the Rift's Guardian rather than taking up space in your bank or whenever you want to switch up your companion's appearance. Very minor fix on that. Minor complaint, but a little bit of just works a little bit more seamless. Excuse me. Temperos. In a similar vein to the above, we have another reward. Weave another is just a weird word. We have another rewards-related readjustment here. Allow players to purchase the fish barrel and the tackle box for 6,000 spirit flakes each. Oh, now they add that. I still need the tackle box. I just haven't felt like getting it. So maybe I'll go back to Temperos. We can knock out the tackle box, and I'll call it a day. Next, we have Coral, which is interesting. Introduced alongside sailing, coral farming currently occupies a really strong position for irons and UIMs when it comes to Herblore EHP, which is efficient hours played. Ordinarily, this sort of thing is something we let happen organically and shift over time, but in Coral's case, there's a risk that the associated methods becoming more widespread could shift Herblore progression for irons all over to mass farming coral rather than the healthy spread of herbs that you currently harvest and use for a variety of potions. So this is Jagex saying, hey, this is too strong, we're going to adjust it. Yeah. These top-end yields for coral function a little peculiarly, and harvest boosters like magic secateurs, addis seeds, and farming levels appear to be doing much more lifting than they would for traditional herbs. As an example, check out these two graphs for a normal Narseed versus an umbral frag. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. This is them just saying we're going to tweak it. They're not even going to pull it from what it looks like. All coral get 6 harvest lives up from 4. Chance to obtain coral frags from their associated thieving chest reduced to 1 in 20, down from 1 in 15. And adjust some stat random values behind the scenes for the various frags. This shifts their yield in game as a rough estimate of how these changes will shift yield. Here's some average numbers, or average yield. Here's some numbers. These changes are quite number heavy, but the tagline is that you'll see more coral as you progress through farming and less coral at the way top end. Okay, that's just a balancing thing. That's cool. That's fine. Other tweaks rounding off the scaling changes are in a small group of tweaks that don't fit neatly into any broader category. They remove the Make X interface when using a log on an existing bonfire. Remove the Herblore level requirement on the Regent pouch. Okay. I didn't even know there was one. Another item I need to go get. Improve shark lures so they increase the rate at which you fish from 5 ticks to 4 ticks per roll, effectively a 20% increase in the speed at which you catch sharks. I want a refund on my shark lures. And buff the elite clue rate from heroes by 25% from 1 in 1400 to 1 in 1050. That's cool. That's fine. Sounds good. Kind of weird. These first two are very odd. And then the shark lures is cool, and the elite clue rate buff from heroes is like, I don't know of anybody doing that, but that's fine. I wonder how that got brought up and thrown in there. Like, where did this come from? Anyway, next we have one of the biggest points of the summer sweep up, PVM changes, and specifically Gauntlet and Corrupted Gauntlet. So strap in. We don't have a huge number of NPC or content-specific changes here, but similar to our TOA changes in last year's sweep up, we're targeting one piece of content in particular to take a real pass over with some smaller miscellaneous changes to follow up. Our focus this year is a fan favorite. You know it, you probably have a complicated relationship with it. It's the Red Prison, the Gauntlet. I got lucky at Corrupted Gauntlet, so don't shoot me. Feel free to leave a hate comment, but I kind of spooned the Gauntlet. So I never had the struggle there, but good luck to all my fellow irons that are, you know, currently grinding the Gauntlet. This one's already generated a lot of conversation. Hopefully seeing what's actually on the table might calm things down a little. We'll start the section by saying that our aims for this aren't to drastically speed up the enhanced crystal weapon seed grind, and instead center on reducing variance and smoothing out the prep phase so that you can more readily turn your brain off before locking in for your fight against the Hunlift. So that's kind of what they hinted at. They said they were going to adjust the prep phase. So I didn't think they were going to touch drop rates, although I do have an idea for that. If you guys want a separate video, I can make it, but let's see what they did. Changes aimed at reducing the prep phase variance and intensity. So it's going to guarantee a random demi-boss spawn at the north, east, southwest most rooms from the center, meaning 4 demi-bosses with fixed locations, but the specific demi-bosses that you encounter will still be random. It's a great change so far. That basically guarantees one, or it does guarantee one at that, you know, those edges or rooms from the center. You know for a fact you can get one. So that's awesome. While we're talking demi-bosses, we also like to reduce their maximum attack range from 16 to 10, meaning you're less likely to get jump scared by an off-screen dark beast. That's a good change too. If you're paying attention, that shouldn't happen too much, but that is a feels bad, which is that's a solid change. Add a guaranteed weapon frame drop from your first low tier NPC kills. That's really interesting. That means you could open up your first room, and if there's an NPC in it, you kill it, you grab your weapon, go make a weapon, and you keep going. That'll keep things rolling pretty quick, because I think it's a 1 in 3. It was a long time since I did Gauntlet, but it was a 1 in 3 chance, and if you don't get it, the run's just terrible. So that's a good change as well. Wow, there's a lot of changes here. Changes aimed at decluttering or simplifying prep. Make the bark ore and Tyrannium stackable. That's really interesting. That's going to make prep phases. I wonder how this is going to affect combat achievements. Automatically place crystal shards in your inventory rather than you having to pick them up. Oh my god. It's just going to be free. This is making it way easier. So now it's stackable and the shards stack. Or just go put it in your inventory automatically. That's wild. Reduce variance on the number of crystal shards dropped by enemies, meaning the number of enemies you need to kill should feel more consistent between runs. That's a good that's a good change. Standardize the stats of the regular enemies within tiers so that it's not better to kill a wolf over a scorpion, for example. Also a really good change. Simplify the number of crystal shards used to create various pieces of equipment so you're not reliant on remembering odd numbers or over-reliant on a plugin to keep track. It's pretty good. Creating a tier 1 weapon requires no crystal shards, down from 20, but you still need a weapon frame. Oh, wow. So if you can kill a monster, get a weapon frame guaranteed, and then just go make your weapon. It doesn't even cost crystal shards, so you're just good. Creating a tier 2 weapon requires 50 crystal shards, down from 60. But this is interesting because before, to get a tier 2 weapon, you need 80. Now you only need 50. So now if you kill a couple monsters and you get 50 crystal shards, you can just make a tier 2 weapon. That's pretty wild, honestly. Creating a piece of tier 1 armor requires 50, up from 40. Interesting. Then a piece of tier 2 requires 100, up from 80. So they're kind of balancing it with the armor. Okay. Creating a piece of tier 3 requires 100, up from 80. The reason for this increase is that we don't want tier 3 to become a guarantee / must-have for every run and should still be trading comfort for time loss. Encouraging people to push themselves down to tier 1 prep for the fastest clears. Interesting. And then lastly, prevent weapon frames from dropping if you have a total of 3 weapon frames or crafted weapons. It's cool too. Very good changes so far. Is that all they're doing? Yo, people are still gonna get really mad at this content. That's gonna make it feel better though, unironically. But that's nothing crazy. I like it because it makes Gauntlet prep phase feel a little bit more consistent, a little less clunky with like the stacking resources and like the auto crystal shards in your inventory. But you still have to do everything. You still have to do everything. But the runs are just gonna feel more consistent. That's good. That's good. They did a good job with this. Other PVM or PVM adjacent changes. I'm kind of excited for this. I see Chambers down here, and then we're gonna get into some Fosani as well from what it sounded like. While Gauntlet's the headline for this section, we've got some more miscellaneous changes to a variety of NPCs and content too. The only thing that sucks is that as someone that's grinding Fosani, I'm gonna have to wait for these changes to kind of kick into effect. All right. Add a minimum number of player attacks before the Phantom Muspah can change styles to prevent constant back-to-back swaps, which make the fight frustrating in high-tier gear setups. I like that. Very cool. So that's how some of these should be. I feel like they're starting to learn a little bit more with how some of these should be, and they're just like, all right, let's just change it. They've come a long way over the years. Add a minimum number of player attacks before demonic girls can change overheads to prevent constant back-to-back swaps, which make them a really draining Slayer task. That's good too, because especially like similar to Muspah at high levels, if you have like if I wanted to go get a Zenite, I'm smacking the shit out of the demonic gorilla. So it's just gonna sit there and just swap over and over and over again. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't say how many attacks, but lowered the duration of Phantom Muspah's homing spikes attack so that ends a little sooner since it's kind of a drag. Kind of straight and to the point. Add a cooldown before a Scotizo totem can spawn again after being destroyed. Oh my god, I haven't done Scotizo in a minute, but thank fuck. Right? That shit's so annoying. Reduce the size of Scotizo's arena so that you're more focused on dealing damage than increasing your daily step counter running between totems nonstop. Wow, so Scotizo's getting updated. Very interesting. Remove the restriction on lifesteal effects against the Wardens of Elidinus or Tumikin, meaning that Blood Fury and Sangstaff would be able to function here. Okay. That's an interesting choice, but I feel like that's how it should be in general. Reduce Chivalry's drain rate so that it matches Deadeye and Mystic Vigor. That's a great change. There is no follow-up sentence. I like that. I love the humor in these. There's no follow-up sentence. You know, the Alexa in my room is talking. Interesting. Prevent Surge Potions cooldown from being reset on death inside Chambers of Xeric, since it introduces a feels bad meta for speedrunners. That's a good choice as well. I didn't know that was a thing. I'd be curious how that works and how much of a pain in the ass it is, though. Someone do a video before they change it. And lastly, prevent progress in the night waves from being reset if you leave via the door. Which I guess is, what is that for? Chivalry or piety or something? Before signing off this section, we'd like to share our thoughts on a topic that we see crop up very often and that some of you may feel is noticeably absent from this year's changes. Our thoughts on CM chambers, or challenge mode chambers of Xeric and prayer scrolls. Oh wow. For many of you, this is a topic that needs no intro, but we'll set the scene to make sure everybody's up to speed. Chambers of Xeric unique table is weighed heavily towards the arcane and dexterous prayer scrolls, meaning that roughly 58% of the uniques you'll see on average will be a prayer scroll. Challenge mode chambers completions add the twisted ancestral crit and metamorphic dust to a tertiary loot table, but don't make any adjustments to the ordinary loot table, meaning 58% of the uniques you'll see in CM completions will also be prayer scrolls. By contrast, Theater of Blood hard mode does make adjustments to the loot table, such that the Avernic Defender, the most common unique, has its weighting reduced by 7.7%, which makes all the other uniques more common. The chance at seeing a unique chest in hard mode Tob is also higher on its own to compensate for the longer completion time, which is mostly mirrored by the increased points per raid offered by a challenge mode chambers of Xeric completion. The high weighting of prayer scrolls applying to CM Cox has been a frequent topic of discussion for some time now, with many players suggesting we should reduce the weighting or remove these scrolls entirely from the challenge mode Cox loot table, in line with how hard mode Tob handles the Avernic. This suggestion is simple enough and absolutely has some merit, but we've been hesitant to make a simple change here since we think the problem is a little more complicated. So we'd like to talk it through with you. It looks like they have a couple different approaches here. Approach 1 is reduce prayer scroll weighting slightly and do nothing else. So this most closely mirrors the hard mode tab. It puts downward pressure on every unique on the loot table. Prayer scroll weighting is so high that you'd like to still see them very frequently unless we reduce the weighting drastically. Some items can't really absorb this downward pressure and still maintain a healthy value, namely the Twisted Buckler and Dins, but also the Dragon Hunter Crossbow and Dragon Claws to a lesser extent. Approach 2, you reduce the prayer scroll weighting, reducing purple chance. So all the above still applies, but they're just reduced in weighting. You just won't see purples as much, but when you do, they won't have as high a chance to be the prayer scrolls. Or approach 3, increase purple chance. So still puts downward pressure on everything, still results in mostly seeing prayer scrolls, but purples are more frequently seen, which probably does make the raid feel better for many players. My guess is because it says increased purple chance, people are just going to pick approach 3, but I think that's probably also the right call here. So it's cool that they're at least willing to address it and come to some sort of conclusion with it. But yeah, approach 3 is probably what people are going to go for here. Alright, unique prices are delicate, and Chambers uniques have historically done a pretty good job at maintaining value considering the raid's lifespan, so we're quite cautious about any solution that might result in a drastic increase for them, or for these. Instead, we'd like to float an idea that tackles the problem from a slightly different angle. What if the scrolls themselves had some sort of added value to apply upwards pressure? Here's what we've been toying with. What if you could re-roll a unique? Bro, what? Yo, anyone who dropped Dexterous or Arcane Prayer Scrolls are going to be pissed. Hypothetical scenario, player obtains an Arcane Prayer Scroll. I still have mine, by the way. Player can withdraw the scroll or re-roll it. Oh, so it has to be in the raid. Never mind. The reroll provides a 1 in X chance to roll on the unique table again, but with the Arcane Prayer Scroll removed from the table, increasing all other unique weightings. If the 1 in X chance is missed, the Arcane Prayer Scroll is deleted. That's kind of fun. Effectively, this creates upward pressure on every item whose value is less than the average reroll value, meaning items like the Prayer Scroll, Din's Bulwark, and Twisted Buckler likely increase in value. There's some downwards pressure created on other uniques, but not to such a degree that it's likely to be overly detrimental. This means that mains could effectively try their luck at getting something better. Irons who have a healthy Death Scoffer could reroll any duplicate items. Cloggers could reroll absolutely everything, and it's a change that could in theory apply to both challenge mode and normal if we wanted. The additional benefit of an approach like this is that we can justify being more generous with the system than we could with simpler buffs number changes, since there's a trade-off involved. From a system design perspective, something like this achieves a lot, but it's understandably a bit weird. We know that our sacrifice style options can be very hit or miss for players, so we'd like to gauge your thoughts on our outlandish idea and how it stacks up against the approaches outlined above. While you mull this one over, we've got more changes coming. The reroll is kind of fun. That's kind of fun, especially as an Iron Man. I know mains might not be like huge on that, but Iron Man and Clogs. Imagine you finish a raid and fuck yeah, you got purple. You open it, more prayer scrolls, right? And it has a little button there. It's just, would you like to reroll? And it's just like, oh, it's like, yo, guys, we're rerolling it. Fucking, let's go, run it back, right? Like that's just hype. Doing the reroll. Imagine doing that into like a Twisted Bow. Like, come on. I know it would be rare, but holy shit. All right, next we have gear changes and rebalancing. Where's Fosani? They said Fosani. It's time to open that Grand Exchange interface and prepare to panic buy or panic sell. Fastest finger wins. Love it. Jokes aside, we tend to use this time to assess the position of existing gear in the game that might be underperforming or overperforming, then make small changes here or there to position gear more effectively to ensure older content remains more relevant, or that we're not damaging how future-proof progression is with some gear overperforming drastically. There are only minor tweaks in most instances, so we'll list things off and keep things quick. Gear buffs. Oh wow, so they're gonna, we get Sang Staff and Soul Reaper, I already see. So for the Sanguinesti Staff, the chance to heal increases to 1 in 5, up from 1 in 6. Deals 8 additional damage whenever the heal procs, which averages out to about plus 1.6 damage per hit. Sounds great. Base max hit is also increased by 1, and the charge cost reduced to 2 blood runes per cast, down from 3. So yeah, I mean, the Sang found itself in a weird spot after the Shadow and the Eye of Aak was released. And it still does have that kind of passive effect of healing you, but this is going to make it feel a little bit nicer. You have a 20% chance now. Your base max hit is increased, and the charge cost is reduced by a rune, which, I mean, let's say you do 100 casts, it's going to be 200 blood runes instead of 300. I mean, that's a 33% buff for the rune cost. So, I mean, that's pretty solid. Next, we have the infamous Soul Reaper Axe. I actually have one of these in my iron. I don't use it too much because I have a scythe, but I do love the weapon. I think it's just cool, and it is something that you have to really work at if you're gonna get. I mean, you have to get all 4 parts from all 4 Desert Treasure 2 bosses. So I mean, like, this needs to be buffed. Strength bonus is increased to 125, up from 121. This is not where I thought they were going with this. Stacks to provide plus 10% damage per stack, up from plus 6% damage per stack. That's kind of crazy, right? It has 5 stacks, so it's gonna be a 50% damage buff instead of 30%. That's kind of big. And then additionally, you have a plus 4 strength bonus as well. That's kind of big. Stacks cap at 3. Okay, so it's still gonna be the 30% damage per stack. Down from 5. So now the max stacks are going to be 3 instead of 5, but you're going to build it up a little bit more. I think No Monkey mentioned doing this. This equates to the same damage increase, but with a faster ramp time and less HP loss to achieve maximum stacks. So now you only lose 8 per. So now you're only going to lose 24 health instead of, what is that, 40? So, I mean, that's, oh man, that's kind of good. You get a plus 4 strength bonus. Just flat out, and then instead it only takes 3 stacks instead. That's really good. That's really good. That's gonna feel really good. I might switch back to that for Fosani once this kind of gets put in the game. I don't know how long it's gonna take. It might take all summer, but I'll probably switch back to it. Ooh, we got the Rapier as well. The Rapier's stab accuracy is increased by plus 6, and the strength bonus by plus 4. This guarantees an additional max hit in all setups. Solid. I still think that weapon needs a special attack probably, but Blade of Saildor slash accuracy is increased by plus 6, and the strength bonus increased by plus 4, which also guarantees an additional max hit in all setups. Solid. Engagement boots gain a plus 1 range strength bonus. That's been needed forever. Master Wand gains plus 10% magic damage bonus. Interesting. That's very interesting. I wonder how useful that's going to be. That's a pretty big bonus there. Ancient Scepters of all variants have their magic damage bonus increased to plus 10%, up from plus 5%. That's solid. That's real solid. The Aquanite Hopper to have its second hit accuracy penalty halved. There's not much room to buff this loads without its power creeping on the Twisted Buckler, but a small buff should make it at least a little bit more worthwhile. That's cool, right? Bell's Folly drop rate increased to 1 in 75, up from 1 in 256. Damn, that's a crazy buff to get the Bell's Folly. And then the Venator Bow to be made more consistent thanks to new engine capabilities. It's hard to quantify this, but in effect it should mean that the bow finds new targets more reliably. It's very nice. Inquisitor changes. Ooh. Remove the Inquisitor set bonus. This allows all pieces and the mace to function better independently rather than locking their utility to the complete set. I'll take that all day. I just pulled my Inquisitor top, or the hauberk, if you will. So that sounds cool. Inquisitor Mace gains plus 5 strength bonus and plus 7 crush accuracy. This guarantees 1 max hit in all setups and may add 2 max hits in some setups. That seems cool. And you get a plus 7 crush accuracy in addition to that. So you're going to hit a little bit more too. That mace is looking nicer and nicer. I'm not going to lie. Inquisitor Greathelm gains plus 2 crush accuracy, putting its total crush bonus at 10, up from 8, and plus 2 strength bonus. Wow. Plus 2 strength bonus is big on that too. This matches the equivalent slash bonus and strength bonus granted by the Oathplate helm. So I mean that's gonna be, it was already best in slot for Corp, but that's gonna be even better now for Corp for landing hits and being able to land your Warhammer or Elder Maul specs. And then finally, the Inquisitor Hallberg, aka the top, gains +4 crush accuracy, putting its total crush bonus at 16, up from 12. This matches the equivalent slash bonus granted by the Oathplate chest. Not bad. So Inquisitor just getting buffed in general. That's pretty cool, especially so far into the game, I feel like. Shaman Mask magic bonus increased to +2 from -6. Okay, fair enough. Gear nerfs, interesting. Burning Claw special attack energy cost increased to 35% from 30. These are incredibly energy efficient and often outcompete special attack options obtained from considerably harder content. They make it really difficult for us to fill additional special attack weapon space and drastically overperform considering their unlock source, since we want consider them to be an endgame unlock as opposed to a stepping stone on your way to things like Dragon Claws or the Void Waker. Okay, so I mean you can only realistically use it twice, and then you have to wait for at least another 5% to generate. That's fair. I think that's a fair point. We have 2 other items in this category that overperform considerably in PvP scenarios. There's a tough line to walk when it comes to keeping item behavior consistent across the entire game, but we're not convinced that players using these items would appreciate seeing them weakened across the board solely to bring them into a healthier spot for PvP. Okay, so the Eclipse Atlatl and the Soul Flames Horn. So the Eclipse is made to attack 1 tick slower unless the full set is worn. Interesting. And then the Soul Flame Horn, it says the special attack adjusted to provide +50% accuracy rather than +100%. Soul Flame Horn makes 1 iteming. Oh, so in PvP. Okay, so both of these are in PvP. So if you're not using them in that, it doesn't matter. That's pretty good. I could see that. That's fair to bring up. And then gear adjustment, Rosewood Blowpipe made able to use darts up to Rune. Just make it Amethyst. Come on. Rune, make it Amethyst. I mean, I'll take it, but like, come on. Current cap to Adamant. To compensate, the 10% bonus damage on its double shot rapid burst special attack will be removed. Interesting. Alright. I mean, that still needs some love, but... New early game gear additions. Early game Slayer is a whole host of monsters who no longer have any interesting loot. We'd like to bolster some loot tables with gear that helps players start climbing the gear ladder for magic and range while they're still in those early stages of progression. So we have new magic amulets. We're getting to the end here, guys. They're adding an amulet of air, water, earth, and fire, made using an air diamond, a water sapphire, an earth emerald, and a fire ruby, which drops from killer watts, sea snake hatchlings, Molinisks, and infernal mages, respectively, all a 1 in 64. So fair enough. And yeah, that'll be kind of cool for early game. New ranged necklace, the Necklace of Fangs, drops from Turoth at a rate of 1 in 128 and provides a +1 range strength and a +12 ranged accuracy. Again, not bad. While our proposal here isn't a game changer, it's at least a nice unlock for players working their way through Slayer. Yeah, fair enough. Easy enough, right? And it's cool to me that they're going all the way at the top end with Inquisitor and the Soul Reaper Axe changes, and then all the way down here with a new ranged necklace and new magic amulets. Just polishing the game. That's what the sweep up's about. It's really cool. And miscellaneous changes. Interesting. There wasn't anything that actually changed to Fosani. It was more Inquisitor. Rounding off the proposals, we're committed to are a few smaller things with no particular rhyme or reason. The kinds that you might see scattered throughout regular quality of life polls during the year, but perhaps a little bit more involved on the technical or balancing side. First, we have changes to Abyssal Creatures. Increase Rune Essence pouch drop rate from Abyssal Guardians to 1 in 8, up from 1 in 42. Jeez. Increase the rate from Abyssal Walkers to 1 in 5, up from 1 in 42. Okay. Just in general. The Rune Essence pouch drop rates are up a lot, so that's cool. Lower light and heavy range defense for Abyssal Guardians and Abyssal Walkers to 0, down from 70 and 75, and lower the crush defense down to 0, down from 70. Okay. It's fine, I guess. Early game run energy improvements. Interesting that they're just adding this. Fully restore run energy and cure any damage over time effects like poison upon completing a quest. Interesting. When you complete a quest, you just fully restore your run energy. Add 1 to 3 dose energy potions to a variety of early game loot tables at a fairly common rate. That's cool. And then buff energy potions to restore 15% run energy per dose. Also cool. And then adjust herbal recipe for energy potions that they're made from unfinished Guam instead of Harlander. Adjust their requirement from 26 down to 10, and subsequently adjust the XP obtained, making them 45 down from 67.5. Okay. Adds another early game use for Guam leaves that might provide useful for herbivore training while also having increased utility in the early game. That's cool. No, that's cool. Add create last option to lecterns. I like that. Ooh, make Gommel's Lucky Penny charge saving effect an account unlock for completing the master tier combat achievements rather than requiring the item to be worn. That's a fantastic change. I hate that. I like the fact that you have to equip something, but overall, the fact that you're just going to get that for completing master tier, that's so nice. Very much support on that. Excuse me. Allow the seed vault to respect locked inventory slots. That should just be a thing already. Remove the timeout cooldown on making parties at the Theater of Blood or entering the fight caves too many times. I like that, both of those. Allow pets to follow you into content like the Gauntlet, Fossil Islands, underwater area, various minigames, and respawn with you on death. Respawn with you on death is crazy. We've come such a long way with pets. It used to be like you die, you have to pay this money, you gotta make sure it's protected. Now, I'll just respawn with you. That's fine. No, it's cool though. And then we have very little left. This is like the end stuff. Rounding off on our blog are the topic we'd like to gauge your thoughts on before committing to a specific direction that we mentioned at the start of the blog. While the summer sweep up or its prognator project rebounds tend to focus on objective improvements or boosts, they also serve as an opportunity for us to surface conversations about parts of the game that we feel are limiting design space or aspects of content that we feel are aging poorly and could likely do with a second look. In the past, we've tackled tough topics like gear balances or the abundance of skilling supplies on loot tables, but today we're narrowing our scope a little and want to talk about birdhouses. No, don't take them away. Since their addition alongside Fossil Island in 2017, birdhouses have absolutely eclipsed the hunter skill. While the addition of hunter rumors went some way to dethroning them, birdhouses account for a huge chunk of all hunter XP gained, dominating many level brackets and stages of progression. Got a little chart here too that I probably can't read. That huge gray space in the middle represents how much XP is gained from birdhouses at various hunter levels. My god. From around level 30 onwards, it accounts for almost 80% of all hunter XP until herbivore makes its entrance at level 80, which I guess is this. It's not inherently a problem for one method to stand out above all others for most players, but birdhouses strip the skill of its unique identity and result in a gameplay loop that more closely resembles farming, effectively reducing all early game methods to the dreaded dead content pile. Interesting. In short, we'd like to try something along the following lines. Increased nest output. Oh, here's Nightmare. Holy shit. Increase nest output by 50% and make them more consistent so that you're not getting a couple on one run and filling up your inventory on the next. Reduce the XP offered for checking them with a big reduction at the lower end and small reduction at the top end. I'm honestly fine with that. That's cool. I'm not upset with that. Let us know what you reckon. We're confident that this would position birdhouses more appropriately within hunter progression, but we appreciate that they've been around for a long time now, and there's bound to be a diversity of opinion here, which is why we're not absolutely committing ourselves to anything at this stage. Rounding us off is our final potential change. Put your hands together for the unofficial mascot. You know her, you love her, the Nightmare of Oshima. I wonder if this is going to be Phosani's or Nightmare. Note, the changes we discuss in this segment are intended as long-term and would rely on future content. These aren't changes that we're planning to make alongside the other changes we've outlined so far. So this is just a discussion then. Alright. It wouldn't be Summer Sweep Up without the Nightmare making an appearance, and from a game design perspective, the boss certainly lives up to its name. Over the years, we've taken numerous passes at the Nightmare, including Phosani's, aiming to make the encounter feel more worth engaging with, since Hosani's in particular stands out as one of the most solid solo encounters in Old School. Yeah, it's extremely tough. We still have some issues here which we think might require radical solutions rather than just a couple more number tweaks, so let's outline our issues. Some of these focus specifically on Inquisitor, which we've covered in the gear rebalancing section above to keep things organized. I like it. The Nightmare's loot table feels bloated. There are 4 pieces of Inquisitor, the Nightmare Staff, and 3 separate orbs to put in the staff. 8 unique rewards can make it really frustrating to chase a couple of specific items, especially when a decent number of these rewards, like the orbs, are relatively niche. Well, so far so good. Some bosses have very little function or appeal for players at any stage of the game and can be revitalized with more interesting loot. Dude, I'll get like 11 unnoted 3-dose prayer pots, and I'll have eaten like 2 food, and I'm like, I guess I'll just send another kill. But like, for fuck's sake, can we get like a little bit of better loot from this boss considering its difficulty, and it's like a 6 or 7 minute fight. Inquisitor doesn't feel like a worthwhile unlock, and relying on the full set limits the Inquisitor Mace's potential to be a solid main hit weapon. This is why we're making the adjustments outlined earlier in the blog. Regardless of how we address the first 2 points, improvements to the Inquisitor armor set and mace aren't dependent on the changes we'd like to explore in this segment. Okay, so they're still going to make the changes that they outlined earlier. We'd like to position Nightmare more strongly as the place that you go to get Inquisitor, rather than that place that you might get Inquisitor from eventually, and a bunch of orbs that you don't care about. I love the brutal honesty here, but... So first off, they're going to move the Volatile and Eldritch orbs off of Nightmare's loot table. Okay. It might be a stronger... thematic here to have the Nightmare drop a generic orb and have it be charged with some unique essence that drops from other NPCs rather than bosses all over Gilnor stumbling across these shiny spheres. Let the harmonized Nightmare orb absorb the weight of the orbs, absorb the weighting of the other orbs. God, I can't talk, I'm sorry. At Hosani's Nightmare, this would mean a drop rate of around 1 in 533, up from 1 in 1,600. I don't know about pulling those 2 orbs from it. I'd rather just... Hey, you get an orb and you can like direct it. You get like a one-time, like, hey, you can direct this into like one of the 3 that you need. I'd rather be that. But increase the weighting of the Nightmare Staff from 3 to 4 so that you're more likely to obtain one by the time you obtain an orb. And increase the generic chance of hitting the Inquisitor Nightmare Staff loot table by 10% to compensate for the staff's increased weighting. This would mean more Inquisitor, more focused loot, and potentially more reasons to check out other bosses if we deem them to be appropriate sources of the other 2 Nightmare orbs. Be sure to let us know if you think we're barking up the wrong tree here, or if you think there's a solid direction to go in. If this doesn't seem like something you're on board with, then we'll keep these orbs in mind with any future content releases and pull moving these orbs over on a case-by-case basis. This means that once both orbs mentioned above are shifted, we'll be able to revisit the specific changes to the Nightmare itself. And with that, we're at the end of our initial proposal. We welcome all of your thoughts, feedback, and discussion, and we'll be keeping a close eye on any suggestions for things we might have missed that fall within our scope. Depending on how conversations pan out around topics like birdhouses or the Nightmare, you might want to keep an eye out for follow-up blogs or in-game opinion surveys to make sure that we're on the right track. Yeah, I mean, I don't even really have a problem with the orbs, rather. Let me pull up just to prove my point here, since we're at the end. Alright, let's go. If we go to the drop table, right, we look at some of them. Like steel cannonballs, 137 to 382. Like, dude, just, and then we go to cannonballs and we type Corp. Like, you get 2,000 from Corp, basically at the same rate, a 1 in 30, right? For the same, it's basically the same time for a solo fight. But I'm only getting a 10th of the cannonballs. Like, come on, man. Like, just drop 2,000 cannonballs. Like, shit like that. Especially for such a hard fight. Like, even rune arrows, right? Make that dragon arrows and make it, like, between 2 and 400. Just so it feels good. Just so I'm getting something I'm actually gonna fucking use. I'm fighting Nightmare. Like, give me... I already have amethyst arrows. Give me dragon arrows. It could be 100 to 200. I don't really care. Or arrowheads. Like, I really don't care. Even like the Catentine and the Torstol. Like, just give me more of it. It's such a hard fight. Like, this should be 26 minimum, up to like 40. And then like the bass, like I don't even really care about the bass. It's more like even like Prayer, Sanfew, Sarah, and Zammy Brews. These should all be noted, with the exception maybe. I should drop one unnoted one so you could kill it again, and then all the rest should be noted. Which I know seems a little weird, but like the drops are very lackluster at at Fosani. So I mean I think they need to address that first before they address like the orbs. Like I don't know. I don't really care about the orbs. Like that to me is like whatever. Like maybe you combine this into one and you get like a one time like you have to like focus it in on something. But like I don't know. I think that they're a little bit off base here. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. Nothing that truly like where I'm like, yeah, like, but it's all good. I mean, I know people will be happy with like the Gauntlet changes. The Inquisitor stuff is gonna be pretty cool. And ultimately, I mean, even like the shortcuts, there's a lot of good changes in here. So, but yeah, that's the summer sweep up, guys. It's always cool to just see the game polish in general, where they just kind of address like pain points and whatnot throughout the that have been like brought up throughout the year. So overall, really good. I know it was a long one, but I appreciate all of you watching. And if you're new and have watched this point, I appreciate you. Throw me a sub. And maybe check out a stream every now and then. We've been streaming Fosanis every day. So that's going to do it for me. Again, if you're new, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I would love to see you over at a stream. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.